أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu and welcome to today's class. I hope and pray that everyone is doing very well. We will begin today's class with our opening dua. So let's have a student to the mic, please.
Yes, Assalamu alaikum. Could we have G2709 on the mic, please?
G2719.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm very well. So let's start with Dawood. Please follow after me. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
Excellent. And Tasmiyah. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Good. And can you read the translation for Dawood?
I seek refuge with Allah from Satan the rejected.
And Tasmiyah?
In the name of Allah, the gracious and merciful.
Okay. So Tuesday's dua is this. ربي زدني علما.
Rabbi zidni ilma.
Good. And the translation?
Oh my Lord, increase me in knowledge.
Good. And this is from?
Taha 115.
Excellent. Surah Taha in the Holy Quran, verse 115. Brilliant. Well done, Jazakumullah, for coming to the mic and reading that for us today. Okay. So just a reminder about class etiquettes and rules. We do this every class, so you should all be following these rules very well now. Please ensure that you have done wudu before you enter the classroom today. You should be wearing clean clothes and heads should be covered appropriately. It's also really important that you're sitting in a nice and quiet place. We do hear students come to the mic and then there's background noise and we're unable to hear you. So it's really important that throughout the class you're sitting in a place where you're able to concentrate properly, and also that when you're called to the mic, you can answer promptly, and also that we can hear you clearly as well. Your parents should be nearby, sitting next to you, and please do ensure that you're logged in with your correct IDs. Today's schedule is as follows. So after assembly today, we'll be looking at our rule in focus, and today we'll be carrying on with the rules of Waqf. So we've been focusing on the rules of Waqf for the past several classes, and today we'll be carrying on and we'll be looking at rule number 8. So only one rule to look at today, but inshallah we'll explain that and go through some examples about that as well today. Our practice text is chapter 104, which is Surah Al-Humazah. And that has 10 verses, so verses 1 to 10, that's what we'll be covering today. We'll also take a small break for our QRS part of today's class, and today we'll be looking at part number 12 of the Holy Quran. We're looking at some facts about part number 12. We'll then carry on with our practice text before consolidating the lesson with our homework and our closing dua, inshallah. Okay, so let's have a look at our rule in focus for today's class. As I said, it's only one rule that we're looking at, and we're focusing at rule number 8. And all these rules that we're covering for the rules of Waqf can be found in the Talimul-Quran book, and this is lesson number 21. So this rule that we're looking at today focuses on what we need to do and what sound we need to make when the word that you want to take a pause at has a ta al-marbuta at the end of the word. Okay, so ta al-marbuta is this letter over here. Okay, so if you all follow where my mouse is, okay, I hope you can all see it. This letter is called ta al-marbuta. Let me zoom in a little bit for you. There we go. Okay, this letter over here is ta al-marbuta. And we're going to look at what happens when we want to take a pause at a ta al-marbuta. Okay, so this is the word we want to take a pause at. For example, the last letter of this word is a ta al-marbuta. So how do we pause? That's what we're going to be focusing on today. So the rule number 8 is that if you find a ta al-marbuta at the end of the word that you'd like to take a pause at, then that ta al-marbuta will always change into a ha sakin. Okay, so ta al-marbuta, if you look at the shape of this letter, you can see that it looks like a ha. Okay, so this part of the word, the letter, sorry, it looks like a ha. If you compare it to this, for example, ha in rule number 7, yeah, it's the same. But the difference is that it has 2 dots at the top, and that's where it gets its name from. Ta al-marbuta. The letter ta also has 2 dots. So this is ta al-marbuta. It looks like a ha, but with 2 dots. Okay, and if you were to read it in continuation, it would make the sound of a ta, the letter ta. So for example, this word in continuation would be read musfiratun, musfiratun. Okay, so we're reading the tanween at the top as well. Now, if you want to take a pause at this word, then what will happen is that this ta al-marbuta will change into a ha with a sukoon on top of it. Okay, so if you think about it, we're dropping these 2 dots, so it becomes a ha, and any stroke that is found on the ta al-marbuta will change into a sukoon. So for example, over here, it's a dhammatain, but it can be any other stroke. Okay, so whatever the stroke is on the ta al-marbuta, it will change into a sukoon. So it's a very simple rule, okay? Wherever you see ta al-marbuta, it will change into a ha sakin, as you can see over here. Okay, so if you follow this now, the left box over here, in red, you can see what it's changed into. It's changed into a ha with a sukoon on top of it. So our sound will change from musfiratun to now musfirah, musfirah. We're going to make the sound of a ha sakin at the end. Okay, so that is the rule that we'd like you to please remember. Okay, and like I said, it doesn't matter what the stroke is on top of the ta al-marbuta. So for example, over here, it's a dhammatain. But if it was a fatha, kasra, dhamma, vertical fatha, vertical kasra, inverted dhamma, any of the strokes, it will change into a sukoon. And when we take a pause, these 2 dots are dropped, so it becomes a ha with a sukoon on top. Oops, okay, ha with a sukoon on top, as you can see over here. Okay, so this is the rule that we'd like you to please from now on practice when you're reciting from the Holy Quran, okay? And now we're going to have a look at a few examples of this from the Holy Quran. Okay, so let's have a look now. So I'm now going to take you to a surah that we have covered previously in our classes, okay? But that was before we had covered this rule, of course, okay? So now looking back at that surah, we can now exactly see why it is that we made those particular sounds. So this is the surah, Surah Al Bayyinah, that we are going to look at, because this has a lot of examples in it where this rule number 8 is being practiced, okay? So as you can see in this surah, this is Surah Al Bayyinah, this is the first half of the surah. I've highlighted all the places where rule number 8 is being practiced. So you can see that it's nearly at the end of each verse of this surah that this rule is being applied. So let's have a look at the end of verse number 2 over here where my hand is, okay? This is the first highlighted place. So you can see that this is the end of the verse, okay? End of verse number 2. And you can see that we see this square, which means that we should take a pause over here. We should stop. And we have to look at the last letter before we're stopping. So the last letter over here, this is ta al-marbuta. It looks slightly different to what we've just seen, but you can see that we still have the shape of the ha, Okay, it looks slightly different, but it's still a ha with 2 dots on top. So this is ta al-marbuta. And as I said, and as the rule that I've just explained says, that if you see a ta al-marbuta at the end of the word that you'd like to take a pause at, then that ta al-marbuta will become a ha sakin. Okay, so it doesn't matter what the stroke is on top. So for example, over here, this is a dhamma. It will still change into a sukoon. Okay, so this will be read as bayyinah. So when I'm taking a pause over here, it will be read as bayyinah. I'm making a h sound at the end, a h with a sukoon on top. Bayyinah. Okay, let's have a look at the next verse. So this is the end of verse number 3. We can see again that the last letter of the verse is a ta al-marbuta. It's a ta al-marbuta with a fathatain on top. And as we just said, it doesn't matter what the stroke is on top of the ta al-marbuta, it will always change into a ha sakin. So over here, this will turn into a ha sakin when we want to take a pause. So this will be read now as tahara, tahara. Okay, it will change into a ha sakin. So we have to do a little bit of imagination over here when we look at this, because of course we don't see a ha sakin at the end of the verse. We see a ta al-marbuta with the fathatain on top. But we have to now imagine what it would now look like when we want to take a pause. So we have to kind of imagine this as a ha sakin now. Okay, so this is what we need to do. So this will be pronounced as tahara. Next verse over here again, last letter is a ta al-marbuta with a dhammatain on top. So this will turn into a ha sakin. So this will be read as qayyimah, qayyimah. Okay, over here, the next verse, we can see again, ta al-marbuta is the last letter of the word that we'd like to take a pause at. So this will turn into a ha sakin. So this will be read as bayyinah, bayyinah. Okay, so we can see how often this rule is being applied in this surah, Surah Al Bayyinah. So let's go down and continue with this verse, this surah, okay? Again, at the next verse, we can see again, we have ta al-marbuta. This time it has a kasra. But as we said, doesn't matter what the stroke is, it will always turn into a sukoon. So this will turn into a ha sakin. So it will be read as qayyimah, qayyimah. Next verse over here, again, we have a ta al-marbuta at the end with a kasra. It will turn into a ha sakin when we pause. It would now say, we will now recite bariyah, bariyah. Again, at the next verse, we have ta al-marbuta with a kasra. It will turn into a ha sakin. Bariyah, same as before. Bariyah. Okay, so that is the rule, rule number 8 that has been practiced in this surah, Surah Al Bayyinah. So lots of examples for us to look at in this surah in particular. Okay, so I hope you've all understood this rule. Once more, let me just clarify that wherever you see a ta al-marbuta, which looks like this, okay, it may look like this or it may look like this. Okay, so the shape is slightly different, but it is still ta al-marbuta. Okay, it looks like a ha with 2 dots on top. Wherever you see that at the end of the place where you'd like to take a pause at, then that's when you turn that into a ha sakin in your pronunciation when you want to take a pause. Okay, so that is the rule that we'd like you to keep in mind, please. And our practice text for today, which is Surah Al-Humazah, there are places in this verse, in this surah as well, where we are practicing this rule. So as we have students on the mic, I will go through with you that rule again as well now. Okay, so Surah Al-Humaza is what we are covering today. This is a Meccan surah, which means that it was revealed to the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the holy city of Mecca. It is found in part number 30, which is the last part of the Holy Quran. It is chapter number 104. And it has a total of 10 verses, 1 ruku, and it was the 32nd surah to be revealed, 32nd chapter to be revealed to the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, so just a few quick facts about this surah that you may find interesting and you may want to remember as well. Okay, so this is Surah Al-Humaza. Some of you may know this off by heart, which would be really good. If you don't know this surah off by heart, it's a really good surah to start learning. It's not too long. It's a beautiful surah, so we should try and learn as much of the Holy Quran as we can. So we are now going to have students to the mic, and we are going to recite this surah. Okay, so can we have a student to the mic, please?
G2604.
Assalamu alaikum, G2604. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm very well. Jazakumullah for asking. So the rule that we've covered today, so for Ta al-Marbuta, rule number 8 of pausing, do you understand it?
Yes.
All right, brilliant. Okay, so as I mentioned, there are some places in this surah where that rule is being applied. So we're going to pay close attention to that as well when we carry. Okay, so if you could start with Dawood and Tasmiya, nice and slowly.
Yes. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Good. Over here, so let me just get my highlighter. I can point it out for you. Okay, so over here, this is the ha has a kasra. Okay, so don't make too much of a thick sound. So Rahmanir Rahim.
الرحمن الرحيم.
Yeah, make sure when you say it, you're saying he. Rahma.
الرحمن.
So follow after me again. Hira. Good, better, okay? Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Okay, good, better. Okay, well done. And let's start from the next verse. Okay, so follow after me, please. Wailul likulli. Good. Humazatillu.
Humazatillu.
Good. One more time. Humazatillu.
Humazatillu.
Good. Mazah.
Mazah.
Good. Well done. Excellent. So over here, what we've done is we've applied the rule that we've just covered today. So can you tell me what this letter is called at the end?
This is a ta.
Yeah.
Was it I forgot its name, but it was the.
That's fine. No problem. It's okay. So this is Ta al-Marbuta. Yeah.
Yes.
So what is it? Ta al-Marbuta. Can you say that?
Ta al-Marbuta.
Good. Well done. Okay. So this is Ta al-Marbuta. It looks like a ha with 2 dots on top. Okay. This is called Ta al-Marbuta. So try and make sure that you remember what this letter is called. Okay. Now, what was the rule that we've just covered today? What did it say?
It said that if you have a sign and if you have ta bruta, you need to change it into a ha with a jazm on it.
Excellent. Good.
And you need to imagine it's a ha.
Good. Well done. Excellent. Yes, that's right. So what you've just said is correct. So wherever you see a ta al-marbuta, it doesn't matter what sign it has on top of it, it will turn into a ha with a jazm or a sukoon. Okay, that's what we're going to say. We're going to say sukoon, a sukoon on top of it. That's what you have to imagine it is. Okay, when you take a pause. Excellent, well remembered. So let's do this verse again. Wailul likulli
Wailul
humazatil lumazah. Excellent. Good, mashallah. Well done. Nicely recited. Over here, we've applied the rule of ya leen. Yeah, do you remember that rule?
Yes.
Yeah, the rule says that if you see a ya sakin and the letter before carries a fatha, then that is a ya leen. So that's why we've said it as way, and we've carried that sound for 2 counts. Waylulli. Okay, so remember those, all the rules that we learned previously, we're going to be applying. So make sure you look out for them, okay? So that was nicely read. Let's carry on to the next verse. الذي جمع. Good. Try and make that ayn sound. جمع. Good. مالا وعدده. Okay, good. Over here, the ayn is joining the dal because of the shadda. Okay, so let's do that. Adda. And then this dal is going to join onto this ha, because when we take a pause over here, this was rule number 7. So this is what you covered yesterday, that if you see, for example, an inverted dhamma over here, then that turns into a sukoon. So this is going to be dal joining to a ha sakin again. So this is going to be dah. Good. So let's try that one more time. So just this bit is going to be addada. Excellent. So one more time. الذي جمع مالا وعدده.
الذي جمع مالا.
Excellent. Good. MashaAllah. Very nicely recited. That was really good, mashallah. Okay, so just a few rules over here. For example, over here, this is the rule of ya mad that we're applying. It's a ya sakin, and letter before carries a kasra. So it's 2 counts. Okay, we're stretching for 2 counts over here, which you did really well. And then, of course, there are places where we're doing short strokes. So, for example, these are all short strokes. So we need to be careful to spend how long over here?
Yes.
How long, do you know? For the short strokes.
Yes, they are actually one second.
Good. 1 second or 1 count. Brilliant. Well done, mashallah. Really good recitation and very nicely recited. And well done for remembering all the rules that we've learned previously as well, including the one we've covered today. So Jazakumullah G2604 for coming to the mic. Allah Hafiz.
And I'm also on the second, I'm reading for the second time too.
You're reading for the second time the Holy Quran?
Yes.
Brilliant, mashallah. Well done. That's really good. Okay, keep going and inshallah you'll finish it the second time as well. Yeah?
Yes.
All right. Jazakumullah. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. Can we have another student, please?
G2704.
G2704.
Assalamualaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm very well. So if you could start with Dawood and Tasmiyah, nice and slowly.
Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Excellent. Okay. يحسب أن.
يحسب أن
ما له أخلده.
ما له أخلده.
Excellent. Good. Well done. So how have you paused over here? What's happened? What's changed?
You've changed it to a ha sakin at the end.
Excellent. Good. So this inverted dhamma has turned into a sukoon. So as you said, it's become a ha sakin at the end. That's why we made that sound at the end. Brilliant. Let's do that one more time. يحسب أن ماله أخلده.
يحسب أن ماله أخلده.
Brilliant, mashallah, well done. And can you tell me what rule we have to make sure to apply over here?
Is it called gunna?
Yes, it is. Can you explain that rule to everyone?
You have to press onto the letter and prolong it for 2 seconds.
Excellent. So which two letters do we need to do that for in specific?
Neen mushaddad and noon mushaddad.
Yes, Mim mushaddad and Noon mushaddad are the two letters that if they have a shadda on it, then we need to press down on the letter, as you said, hold that sound for 2 counts. And that is called the ghunna rule. Well done, mashallah. Well done for remembering. Let's carry on. كلا لينبذن.
كلا لينبذن
Good. في الحطمة.
في الحطمة.
Excellent. Good. Well done. Same thing over here, yeah, like we did before with the noon gunna sound that we have to make. Because there's a shadda on the noon, when we say this, we need to press down on the noon, holding that sound, nasal sound for 2 counts, okay? So make sure everyone at home as well, you're following along. Let's do this again, okay? كلا لينبذن في الحطمة.
كلا لينبذن في الحطمة.
Excellent, mashallah, good. وما أدراك ما الحطمة.
وما أدراك ما الحطمة.
Excellent, mashallah. So for these last 2 verses that we've just read, the pausing rule is what we've just covered today. Yeah. So can you tell me what this letter is called? Do you remember? G2 704. Do you remember? Are you still on the mic?
I couldn't hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So do you remember what this letter is called at the
Is
end?
it a dal marbuta?
It is, yes. So Ta al-Marbuta is the name of these letters. And the rule is that if you see the last letter to be Ta al-Marbuta when you're taking a pause, then it will turn into a, can you tell me?
It will turn into a ha with a sakin.
Excellent, excellent. Well done. Yes, that's correct. So that's why we read it as Hutamah, and over here again, Hutamah. So that h sound should be clear when you end the verse over here. Yeah, excellent. And let's do one more verse. Narullahil muqadah.
Narullahil muqadah.
Excellent, mashallah. Again, at the end of this verse, we can see we have a ta al-marbuta and it has a dhamma. So it doesn't matter what the stroke is on top of the ta al-marbuta, it will always turn into a ha sakin. So that's why that's the sound we made. Yeah. Can you tell me what rule it is that we're applying over here?
Is it a vowel mud?
Wow, mud. Yes, well done. So what do we need to do over here?
You need to prolong the meme for 2 seconds.
Yes, the excellent. Yep. So the mu sound, meme with a dhamma, needs to be stretched for 2 counts. Excellent. So let's do that one more time. Let me get rid of this. Okay. Narullahil muqadah.
Narullahil muqadah.
Brilliant. MashaAllah, you're reading really nicely. G2704. And well done for remembering all the rules that we've learnt so far as well. Excellent. Jazakumullah. Jazakumullah. Okay. Allah Hafiz. Okay. So let's just take a quick pause over here to look at the QRS part of today's class. So today we are focusing on part number 12 of the Holy Quran. Okay. So for part number 12, this part starts off with the word وَمَا مِن دَابَّةٍ وَمَا مِن ضَابَّةٍ. So that is the word that this part starts off with. And it starts off with Surah Hud. Okay, so that's where part number 11 finished off. So Surah Hud, which is chapter number 11. And we start off this part with verse number 7 of Surah Hud. Okay, and this part finishes with Surah Yusuf, which is chapter number 12, verse number 53. So that's where we finish off this chapter. Sorry, this part. Okay, so it starts off with Surah Hud, finishes off with Surah Yusuf. So just to remind you all again, yesterday you looked at part number 11, where you looked at, it starts off with Surah At-Tawbah, and it ends with Surah Hud, and part number 12 starts off where part number 11 finished off, which is Surah Hud, verse number 7, and finishes with Surah Yusuf, which is chapter number 12, verse number 53. Okay, so those were just a few quick facts about this part of the Holy Quran. Okay, so let's go back to our surah for today. And can we have another student, please, to the mic?
G2720.
Sorry, could you repeat the ID again?
G2720.
720, Jazakumullah. G2720, can you come to the mic, please?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm very well. Jazakumullah for asking. So let's start with Dawood and Tasmiyah, please, if you could recite that nice and slowly.
Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Good, excellent. Okay, so we're starting from here. التي تطلع.
التي تطلع.
Good. Over here, let's try and make that differentiation between the th sound and the tha sound, okay? One is thin, so the th is thin, and the tha is thick. So let's try that. Tatta.
تطلع.
Brilliant, better. التي تطلع.
التي تطلع.
Brilliant, good. على الأفئدة.
على الأفئدة.
Good. Try and make that ayn sound. على الأفئدة.
على الأفئدة.
Brilliant. Good. Well done. At the end of this verse, can you tell me why it is that we've stopped like we have? So why did we pronounce it as a ha sakin?
Because it's dal al-marbuta.
Yeah. Brilliant. So whenever we see a ta al-marbuta, what does it change into?
It changes into a ha.
A ha with a sukoon on top. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, ha sakin. Yeah, so it changes into a ha, excellent, but it also has a sukoon on top when we finish. Okay, so let's do that one more time. التي تطلع على الأفئدة.
على
Over here. التي.
التي تطلع التي تطلع على الأفئدة.
Good, excellent. At the end, try and make a h sound, okay? أفئدة.
إذا.
Excellent, that's better. Okay, well done. So that's just something we need to be careful of at the end. So that's what our sound is going to change into. Can you tell me what rule is being applied over here?
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay, that's fine. Let's have a look then. So I've highlighted a ya sakin and the letter before carries a kasra. Does that help?
Yeah.
Does it jog your memory a little bit, or should I tell you what it is then?
Could you tell me? I'm still
Yeah.
not sure.
That's fine, no problem. Okay, so what this rule is that's the rule of ya mud. Okay, so that's the letters of prolongation, if you remember. Okay, so alif, waw, and ya are the letters of prolongation. So if you see a ya sakin and the letter before carries a kasra, then that is a ya mud. It becomes a letter of prolongation, and we have to stretch our sound for how many counts? Do you remember?
2 or 3 counts?
Just 2 counts, okay? So just 2 counts for the letters of prolongation. So ya mud is 2 counts. So that's why we have said allati for 2 counts. We've stretched that, okay? So that is the rule. Wherever you see a ya sakin, letter before carries a kasra, it is a ya mud. Okay, does that help?
Yep, thank you.
Just make sure you remember that. Okay, from now on, just keep revising all the rules we've learned so that we keep up to date. So we're just going to go on to the next verse now. It is this one. So we're going to start from here. Innaha alayhim mu'sadah.
إنها عليهم مؤصدة.
Excellent, mashallah, good. So at the end over here again, we have a ta al-marbuta. It will change into a ha with a sukoon on top of it. That's why we've pronounced it as sadah at the end over here. Okay.
Okay.
Now let's have a look at a few more rules that we're practicing over here. We have the alif mud over here. Yeah. So we looked at the ya mud in the previous verse. This is alif mud because it's a blank alif letter before carries a fatha. So we've stretched for 2 counts over here as well. Innaha. Okay. Also for the noon over here, it has a shadda on top. Do you remember what rule it is that we have to apply over here?
Is it you have to like put pressure on it?
That's right. Excellent. We do have to put pressure on it. And we have to hold that nasal sound of the noon for 2 counts. So rather than saying inna, we're going to say inna. It's the gunna sound that we're going to make. Innaha. Like that. Okay. So that's another rule that we're looking at. Over here, we have a hamza sakin. And we've learnt that wherever you see a hamza sakin, we have to make a soft jerk sound. So it's not going to make the sound of an ayn, but a soft jerk sound. So we're going to say him sada. Okay, so it's going to be a light and a soft sound, but a slight jerk sound that we're going to make for the hamza sakin. So those were all the things that we need to be careful of in this verse. And let's do the final verse now. في عمد
في عمد
ممددة.
ممددة.
Excellent. Over here, we're finishing off with the ta al-marbuta again. So it will turn into a ha sakin. So it will make that sound one more time. في عمد ممددة.
في عمد ممددة.
Good. مددة.
مددة.
Excellent, mashallah. Good. Do you remember what this rule was called again? With the ya sakin and the letter before carries a kasra?
Is it Yamad?
Brilliant. Good. Well done. Well done for remembering. Okay. Jazakumullah for coming to the mic and reciting for us today.
Okay.
Allah
Jazakallah.
Hafiz. Allah Hafiz. Okay, so that was one recitation of this Surah Al-Humazah. MashaAllah, whoever came to the mic read well, and we took care to remember that at the end of each of this verse, we have to remember our rules of pausing. So for example, today we've learned about the rules of pausing when we see ata al-marbuta. So it becomes a ha sakin. So we've made sure that we've applied it. Okay, so we're going to continue and we're going to read the surah once more. So let's have a student to the mic, please.
G2596.
G2596. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm very well. Jazakumullah for asking. So, before we move on, just a reminder that the attendance form has been posted in the chat. So please ensure that during class or straight after class, you make sure to click on it and submit your attendance so that we know that you joined today's class. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, so if you could start with Dawood and Tasmiyah, please, nice and slowly.
Okay.
Yeah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Excellent. So let's start from here. Okay, just follow after me for now. Inshallah, you will get a chance to read, to lead in recitation in Friday's class. But for now, we're just going to do it as the teacher leads and the student follows. Okay, so that everybody can listen carefully. So
Okay.
starting from here, wailul likulli
ليل
kulli.
كل
Good. Humazatil lumazah.
همزة اللمزة
Good. Make that h sound. Mazah.
مزة.
Good. Sometimes it's difficult to hear through the audio, but I'm sure you're making that h sound, okay, at the end over here, because it's a ta al marbuta. It will change into a. Can you tell me? What does this ta al marbuta turn into when we're taking a pause after it? It turns into a ha sakin, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, ha sakin is what it changes into. So that's why we're making that ha sound at the end. Okay, so let's do this one more time. Wailul likulli humazatil lumazah.
ويل لكل همزة لمزة.
Good, well done. Over here, make sure you stretch that way sound for 2 counts because it's a ya lean. Okay, and we know that ya, the lean sound is for 2 counts. Wailulli.
ويل.
Good, excellent, well done. Let's carry on. Alladhi jama'a.
الذي جمع
Malan wa'addada.
مالا وعددا.
Addada.
أجدا.
Brilliant, good. الذي جمع مالا وعدده.
الذي جمع مالا وعددا.
Good, well done. But make sure you stretch this for 2 counts. Yeah, it's the alif mud over here. Can you see? It's a blank alif, letter before carries a fatha. So it's an alif mud. So when we recite this, we're going to say it for 2 counts. الذي جمع ما.
الذي جمع ما
لن وعدده.
لو Adada.
Excellent. Okay. When we say this, we're going to produce a nasal sound in between, joining the lam to the waw. Lawa.
Lawa.
Good. Well done. Okay. That's the correct sound to make. Brilliant. Let's carry on. Yahsabu anna
Yahsabu anna
malahu
malahu
akhladah.
akhlada.
Good. Well done. Yahsabu anna malahu akhladah.
Yahsabu anna malahu akhsada.
Excellent. Make sure when you say this, you're making a nasal sound, the gunna sound, okay? Anna.
Anna.
Good. Yahsabu anna malahu akhladah.
Yahsabu anna malahu akhlada.
Sorry, this is malahu
Malahu
akhladah.
akhlada.
Excellent. Okay, well done. And one more. Kalla la yumbadhanna.
Kala la yumbazanna.
This is over here. Kalla.
Kala
Good. La yumbadhanna
la yumbazanna.
fil hutamah.
Fil hutama.
Excellent. Good, mashallah. Nicely recited. Just make sure that wherever there's a letter of prolongation, so for example, alif mud, waw mud, or ya mud, that we're stretching for 2 counts. Okay, so no less than that, please. Okay, so remember that rule and make sure you're practicing that regularly. Okay, Jazakumullah, G2 596. Allah Hafiz for now.
Excuse me, can my sister please have it?
What's her ID?
G2592.
G2 592. Is that okay, discipline in charge?
Yes, that's okay.
Okay, yep. Can she come to the mic, please?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Okay, so let's carry on. Sorry, if you could start with Dawood and Tasmiyah, please.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Good, well done. Okay. وما أدراك.
وما أدراك.
Okay, try and make that raw sound thick, okay? وما أدراك
وما أدراك
ما الحطمة.
ما الحطمة.
Excellent, good. Making that ha sakin sound at the end because this ta al marbuta turns into a ha sakin. Excellent. Let's carry on. Narullahil muqadah.
Narullahil muqadah.
Excellent, well done. Again, this ta al marbuta will change into a ha sakin. And then we have allati tattali'u.
Allati tattalihu.
Okay, the ayn sound, okay? Just come a bit closer to your mic. Your voice is not too clear at the moment. Okay, let's do that again. Allati tattali'u.
Allati tattalihu.
Good. Ala al-af'idah.
Ala al-af'idah.
Excellent, well done. Make that h sound at the end. Ala al-af'idah.
Ala al-af'idah.
Excellent. Innaha alayhim mu'sadah.
إنها عليهم مؤصدة.
Good. Make that ghunna sound for the noon mushaddad. Wherever you see a noon with the shadda or a meme with the shadda, for example, over here, then we have to make the ghunna sound. إنها عليهم مؤصدة.
إنها عليهم مؤصدة.
Brilliant. Good. Well done. في عمد ممددة.
في أمد ممددة.
Excellent. Good. Again, over here, mim mushaddad. So a gunna sound will be made over here. Yeah. Brilliant. Well done, mashallah. Really good recitation by the both of you. Jazakumullah for coming to the mic and reciting for us today. Okay.
Jazakallah. Can I please
Jazakum.
do trending as well?
Jazakumullah. Allah Hafiz. Okay, so that was the surah for today, Surah Al-Humaza. MashaAllah, everybody that read really nicely, and I hope everyone at home who wasn't able to come to the mic was reciting along with us. So just to consolidate today's lesson, today we looked at rule number 8 of the rules of Waqf, which was that if you see a ta al-marbuta at the end of the word that you like to take a pause at, that's the last letter, then that ta al-marbuta will turn and change into a ha sakin, and that is a sound that we're going to make. Okay, today we covered chapter 104, which is Surah Al-Humaza, and we looked at where the rule number 8 is being applied, as well as all the other rules that we've learned so far. And as I've been saying, it's really important that you keep revising so that you don't forget the previous rules that we've learnt. And as much as it is important that we're applying those rules, it's also important that we know why it is that we're applying those rules, what is the name of that rule, and what is the rule saying. Okay, so those are all important points that we need to be remembering. We also looked at part number 12 of the Holy Quran, and we learned a few facts about that part. And your homework for today is to practice all the rules that we have learnt so far, and also to apply them in your daily tilawat. And also, please continue to memorize Surah Al-Asr. Okay, so that is also your homework. It's a short surah. I'm sure many of you already know it, but if you don't, please start memorizing it. And if you already know it, make sure that you're revising it. Okay, we are going to go to our closing dua. So can we have a student to the mic, please?
G2584.
G2584. Assalamu alaikum. 584. Can you hear me?
They are unmute, but I think the mic may not work properly.
Okay, let's move on then.
We have another student, and then G2746.
G2746. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, let's move on.
G2724.
G2724.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Okay, Jazakumullah for coming to the mic. Let's start with Dawood. Would you like to recite this, please?
Yes, please. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim.
Good. Over here, just look over here. If you look at my hand, the ha is separate and the meme is separate. Okay, so make sure you don't join those two sounds together. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Okay, so it's separate. So try that again, please.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim.
Good. Tasmiyah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Brilliant. Okay, this is today's dua. Please recite this.
Allahumma arhamni Bil-Qur'an Azim.
Excellent. The translation, please.
Oh Allah, have mercy on me through the Quran the Great.
Ameen. Jazakumullah. Well done. Really nicely read. Jazakumullah for reading that for us today. And Jazakumullah to everyone for joining today's class. Please ensure that you do your homework, keep practicing, and inshallah we'll speak to you all again same time tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.